Hello friends, so welcome to my session. So today we will discuss about how do we say restore the Tomcat application from the backup. So you can see my screen here. I am get the details of the Tomcat application. So this is the Tomcat application running over here as a pod. So you can see it here, and I have created the load balancer service, and I can able to access the application through the load balancer service. So this is the application. You can see it here, the IP of the load balancer and the port number which the Tomcat is application is running. So now you can see it here. I am able to access the Tomcat application. Now I am going to delete this application and then we can restore it from the backup. So I have already taken the backup. So you can see it here, Velero get backup. This is the command to see the all the backup status, and you can see it here. We have already take the Tomcat backup, and I have set up the Velero server as a pod so that we can take the backup and restoration. So if you see here kubectl get all -n Velero. So Velero is a tool. Velero is a backup tool where we can able to take the backup and restoration of entire namespace, entire pod. So we can take the backup and restoration. We can also migrate the resource from one cluster to another cluster using the Velero tool. So Velero tool is a backup tool in the Kubernetes. So we can so right now I'm going to delete entire namespace. So entire namespace means this Tomcat namespace. So everything will be deleted. When we run the command kubectl delete all, then every application will be all the resource which is under the Tomcat application will be deleted. So this is the command kubectl delete all all -n Tomcat. So now it's deleted. It is in progress. So the main purpose of these things, like why we are going to delete, so I will restore entire namespace from the backup what I have taken. So I have taken the backup this Tomcat backup name. So now you can see it here, all the resource has been deleted and one Tomcat pod is in terminating state. So now it's all deleted. Now we have to delete the namespace also. So this is the namespace. So kubectl delete ns Tomcat. So if you want to see the application, earlier it was accessible. Now when I refresh the browser, now it is showing the unavailable, because there is no pod is running, no application pods are running there. If you copy this IP and put, you can get like the application is not accessible. Why? Because the pod is not there. I have deleted all the resource under the namespace. Now we have to second step, we have to restore from the backup. So I have take the backup with this name. So now I am going to restore. So for restoration I am using this command. So Velero restore create from backup and Tomcat. So Velero get backup and Velero. So Velero restore create from backup and the name of the backup what I have taken. Now click. Now you can see it here, restore request has been submitted successfully. And if you want to see the status of the restore, so you have to run this command Velero get restore. So you can see it here, all the restoration has been completed within 2 and 3 seconds. Now we have to check the status of namespace, and now you can see it here, the Tomcat namespace has been restored last 23 seconds. And if you want to see the status of all the resource, that I am going to show you now. You can see it here. The Tomcat pod application has been restored and the age is 36 seconds ago, and all the service has been created, all the deployment file are created, all the replica sets are created. So now you can see it here, our application has been restored. Now we can try to restore access the application. So you can see it here. Earlier the way I have deleted the Tomcat application, after that it's not accessible. Now we have restored it from the backup. Now let's check the status of the application. Is it accessible or not? So this is the overview of this backup and restoration things, like how do we set up how do we take the backup and how do we restore the application from the backup. So this is the overview of this one. So if you want to get more details about this, then you can ping me to get more details. So in that so in the next video, in the next session, I will explain you what are the architecture of Veloro, like how Veloro works, or how do we configure the Veloro backup, and how do we set up the backup and restoration, and how do we migrate resource from one cluster to another cluster. So that we will discuss in details. So now you can see it here, our application has been accessible now after the restoration. So this is just the overview of this backup and restoration, and I'm also starting the if you want to get details, I am also starting the training on this, like on the Kubernetes, like real time training, because the real time training means like I am working in the same platform. So what type of what are day-to-day tasks in the Kubernetes, that I will explain, like what are the day-to-day tasks, and what are the challenges I face in my project, what type of issue I work on that. So based on that, I have created the session. So every weekend I am taking the session on Saturday, Sunday. So if you want to join, you can ping me, and this is the syllabus content where I have started from the scratch, like what is Kubernetes. If you don't have any knowledge of Kubernetes, if you are not background of Kubernetes, so you can also join my session. And in this session I have started from the scratch, like what is Kubernetes, how many types of Kubernetes, what is the architecture of Kubernetes, how do we create the pod, what is node. So in this way I have 40 plus, like this is the course content, like how do we set up horizontal pod scaling, how do we set up the Jenkins. So you can see it here, I have set up the Jenkins application as a pod. If you go here, kubectl get ns, so you can see it here, I have created Jenkins namespace. So under Jenkins namespace I have set up the Jenkins application. So if you go here, now you can see it here, the Jenkins application is up and running, and I can able to access the Jenkins from the service. So that thing I will that thing I have covered in my session, how do we set up the Jenkins, how do we set up the horizontal pod scaling, how do we push the code from local machine to Azure repo. So I am using the Azure repo, like this is my repository where I have managed my image, all the image means like the application developer write the code for suppose I want to deploy the Jenkins. So the developer write the code of Jenkins application, and they can create the image from those code, and we have to create the one registry. Registry means, if you go here, so container registry is this is the private repository where we can manage all the image. I can store all the image related to application. So you can see it here, and the three images are there in the Nginx Tomcat M12. So those things I will discuss, like what is repository, what is a private repository, and how do we push the image from my local machine to the repository, how do we connect the repository from our jump box. So those things I will cover, and you can see it here. What is Rancher, how to add cluster into the Rancher, how do we create the SSL certificate, so that because in the production environment your application should be like import the SSL certificate. So that's are the day-to-day tasks, like how do we import the certificate, how do we extend the persistent volume on existing application, what are the tasks, what are the pre-tasks and what are the post-tasks, and how do we upgrade the cluster, and what are the challenges during the upgradation. So when you attend the interview asks you like have you done any upgradation, what are the challenges you face, what type of issue you face during the upgradation. So those things I will show you here in the live session. I will upgrade the cluster, and I will show you like what all the challenges I faced, and apart from that I will show you 20 plus live troubleshooting. So live troubleshooting means like what type of issue I face in my Kubernetes production environment. So those issues I will show you in my live session. And if you go here, kubectl get pod. So you can see it here. Some pods are in pending state, some pods are image pullback of state, some pods are in crash loop back state, some PVC are in pending state. So what is the reason? Because this type of issue I face in my production environment. You can see it here. Some pods are email pullback, some pods are crash pullback, some pods are pending state. So what is the reason why this pods are in pending state? So you can see it here. So some of the pods are in crash loop back, some pods are in pending sets. That I will fix in the live session. Like how do you fix this issue and what is the reason why this pod in image pullback, why this pod in crash loop back, why this pod in pending state, and what is the RCA root cause of this issue, and I will fix those issues. So that if you are like you can and I will show you like kubectl get PVC, like how do we how do we create the persistent volumes. So you can see it here. I have created the persistent volume. So how do we create the persistent volume? And if we have requirement to extend the persistent volume, so how do we extend the persistent volume? So those things I will cover in my next session, in my next lecture. And kubectl get pod. So I have enabled the horizontal pod scaler. So if any load happened over this pod, so you can see it here. I have created PHP Apache. You can see it here. PHP Apache pod. So where is the PHP Apache? Yeah, this is the PHP Apache pod. So if load happen, like suppose I have assigned the 2 GB of RAM of this application, and my 90% utilization, like we have a lot of traffic coming over this application, and utilization reach up to 90%. So in this case, like how do we overcome this issue? Because if you didn't enable the SPA, then your pod will be like crash, or it's getting the OM killed error due to the insufficient resource. So in this case, I have set up the SPA. So if the load happened over, or load occurs over this application, or the heavy traffic over this application, then automatic the new pod will be come up. So that I will show you in this session also. Let me increase the load of this application, so that this is the command. How do we like increase the load over this application? So now load are increasing. Duplication. So kubectl get HPA. So now you can see it here, load is increasing. Let's stop the load. So if you go here, you can see it here, the HPA is 159%. So earlier it was 0%. If you go there, when we ran this command kubectl, so here when we check before we apply this command, like where before apply the load, So earlier the SPA was 0%. 0% means there is no traffic and there is no load over the application. So when they have increased the threshold, like I have said, the 50%, if the load will be like greater than or more than 50%, then the SPA, then the new pod will be come up. So in this case, I have enabled the load. After that, I will get the kubectl get pod. So I will get the more pod will be created. You can see it here, 64 seconds ago. When the load will be occurred, like I have set the threshold 50%, but my load, my traffic is 159%. So what SPA do, they can create the another pod so that our traffic will be distributed and load will be less. Load will be like the utilization will be less, so that they have created the three pods. And once the load will be decreases, now you can see it here, the load has been decreases, so automatic the new pod that will be deleted. So you can see it here. So still the three pods are there, so we have to wait for 4 and 5 minutes because it take the time to reflect in. So you got the concept, right? SPS. So that thing I will discuss in detail, like what is SPA, how do we configure SPA, and what and like you can see it how it works. So that thing I will discuss in my session also. So you have to ping me over my WhatsApp. I will add my the WhatsApp detail in my description. So you can ping me to get the details of my session. So I am creating the online training online session based on the real time. So if you want to join my training, then you can ping me over my WhatsApp. And I have already shared the course content. What are the course content? And you can see it here what topic I have covered. Like I have created the Jenkins application, I have set up the Apache application, I have set up the backup and restoration things. And apart from that, I will cover like what are the day-to-day tasks, so that you can explain to the interviewer like you have worked on the Kubernetes. And I will share with you the resume, like sample resume, so you can you can create the resume for the Kubernetes profile. And you can mention like you have worked in the Kubernetes platform, and you have what I have mentioned about the day-to-day task, you have to explain them. And this is the topic what I have mentioned there. So most of the topic are related to production environment. So those topics are used in the production environment. So I will like started from the scratch, like from the basic things like how do we set up, what are the architecture of Kubernetes, what are the pod, and what is the service, what is the secrets, how do we create the secrets, how do we like I will explain you about some scenario based questions. Suppose your image are present in the container history and still your pod getting image pullback of error. So how do you fix the issue? So those things we will discuss in detail, like how do we like I will like during my session I will also explain some scenario based question, like how do you fix those issues. So this session I have started from the beginning to advanced. And advanced means like because most of the guys they learn the Kubernetes from different platform like YouTube, Udemy, or any institute, but they doesn't have the real time exposure. So this is the thing they lack, and they are like struggling to crack the interview because they doesn't have experience to work in the real time environment. So based on that, I have created I have starting my session, like I have started from the beginning level and goes up to advanced level and the day-to-day task. So at the end of session I will explain like what you have to tell to the interviewer, what are the real time case, what are the challenges we face, what are the issue we face, what are the day-to-day tasks, that I will explain. So thanks for watching. So if you have any doubt and query, just you can ping me. So this is the some demo session you can see, and I have like set up like how do we set up the value, how do we set up the backup and usually storage of the tomcat application. So thanks for watching. Thank you. Now let's see the status of pod. Now still the pods are there, so we have to wait for 4 and 5 minutes. So after that, they automatic the two pods will be deleted. So thanks for watching. Thank you. Yeah, and just subscribe my channel so that if in future I will upload any video, then you will get a notification. So yeah. And you can ping me to get more details about my live training session. And if you want like the previous batch recorded session, that also I'm providing. So if you have any queries doubt regarding my the recorded session, then you can ping me also. So I'm providing the two service like a live online training and the recorded session also. So just if you need more detail, just ping me. Yeah.